Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to another episode of Lighthouse at the Lakes. Today's episode, we will be talking about the celebrity charts, both of two celebrities that we really love, and then also the problematic influencers that we know of right now.
Who I don't know anything about.
Yes, that's true. So she is going to be looking at the chart and talking about some darker areas of their chart, and she doesn't know what they've done, so I will be telling her in this podcast, so she'll find out for the first time.
So let's start with, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a sugar-free Red Bull because I've been woken up before 9 a.m. and that is not my style. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a chai with oat milk and some cardamom bitters in my cute little mug that, there's a cat saying hi to me. In my cute mug that Olivia got me, it says Witch's Brew, and it's a little cauldron.
That's so cute.
And it's cute, and I
So
love
cute.
it, and it's perfect for chai, and will be perfect for a red wine at some point.
Yeah. But yes, we also,
Hi, Jinx.
I don't know if she's in frame, but if she is, that's my cat Jinx. So we did want to give just a couple disclaimers before we started. The first one being that Taylor Swift is one of the celebrities we'll be talking about, and she is the only one who has a birth time that we're able to actually find out. So we won't be talking about the rising sign or any of the houses that these signs are in.
Yeah, we would be able to pinpoint things a little more specific if we had rising signs in the houses, but there's no birth time, so we don't have these things.
No. And also, another disclaimer is that other than for Taylor Swift and Burt McCracken, we will only be talking about some of the darker things in their chart. You know, like we said in the first podcast, you can be a good or bad person regardless of your chart. And so there are some positives in each of their chart. We just wanted to focus on some of the darker elements within that chart.
We're focusing on the shadow sides of the signs and the placements and how that can go awry.
Yeah.
Even though it's any sign and any placement can not go awry. It's just what happens in our lives, and we're all multifaceted, dimensional people who have light and dark in us.
Yep.
And that's good and wonderful.
Yeah. Did you have any other disclaimers that you wanted to mention?
I do feel like there were more, but I have forgotten.
Me too.
So when they come up, we may have more disclaimers.
Yes. Okay, well,
Start with Taylor.
yeah, we'll start with Miss Swift. For those of you listening maybe for the first time, you should know Taylor Swift and I are best friends. And by that I mean I've never met her and she doesn't know that, but I have been the biggest Taylor Swift fan since 2008. So I have religiously followed this woman, and I absolutely love her. So we'll start with her.
Yeah.
She's a Sagittarius. She's born December 13th, 1989.
So if we just go off of the sun sign and we're looking at the shadow side of it, Sagittarius tends to be kind of flighty and run away from things and kind of just like drifts from adventure to adventure.
Yes.
And then if I'm looking at her Venus in Aquarius is also interesting to me because it creates a dynamic where someone would be very independent within love. They would be more focused on the whole community around them than they would be focused on their partner.
Yeah. With Taylor, it's really interesting because, well, first of all, there was such a long-running, absolutely sexist joke that she is just constantly, like, dating men, finding new men, and having these short relationships and things like that.
That is very Sagittarius.
Yes. And also, what she says, though, she has a quote where she says something along the lines of that she just didn't want to waste any time in a relationship that she knew was wrong. And so as soon as she knew that it wasn't sort of what she was looking for, she leaves.
Yeah, and that's completely fair and valid.
Completely fair, completely valid, and completely Sagittarius of her. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And also, you know, just like using her muse of relationships to write songs does not make her a bad person. She's just creating art based off of her feelings, as she should.
Definitely not. I won't be calling anyone a bad person here.
Yeah, no.
Because I don't believe in bad people. I believe people do good and bad things.
Yeah, all the time.
So also her moon in Cancer and her Jupiter in Cancer is really interesting, because your Jupiter is your luck, and it is part of how you can make money. And so her moon being in Cancer creates a situation where she is very emotional. And then the Jupiter being in Cancer gives her the opportunity to be lucky from expressing her emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's always been, I mean, a really strong point for my relationship with Taylor Swift is that, like, she takes a feeling and turns it into words that are so specific yet somehow so relatable, because the exact feeling that she's describing is one that we, you know, have all experienced.
Yeah, and it's also very poetic.
Ah, so poetic and beautiful.
Also, looking at her Mars in Scorpio, I think it's funny because that's the placement that I turned to Olivia one day and was like, that's why the cover of Reputation looks like the cover of Reputation. I said that's why she pulls off dark lipstick so well.
Yeah, the entire red era with the bright red lipstick, and then the entire Reputation era with...
Yeah. I also think it's really interesting. So you have your North Node and your South Nodes, and Taylor's North Node is in Aquarius, which would make her South Node in Leo. So South Nodes are kind of more about a past life situation, and North Nodes are like what you're doing now. So South Node in Leo means either her past or a past life, depending on how you look at that and what you believe. She would have been very focused on herself. And being in the North Node, it's North Node in Aquarius, it's time to focus more on community. And that's like her challenge in this life.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
More community focused.
I think it's probably
revolutionary.
Yeah, I was just thinking though, it's probably incredibly hard to have a fan base that large, and you know, because I know that in the early days of Taylor Swift releasing her music and doing concerts, she would stay for hours and hours and hours to anyone who waited in line to see her. And now, obviously, as she has 53,000 plus people in one stadium that she has to sing to, she cannot stay that long. She just can't. And so I imagine that's probably a really big struggle right now, is to find a community that doesn't just, you know, worship the ground she walks on, honestly, because I would.
You can still consider she still does a lot for her community. Like, you're telling me all the time the stuff that she drops teasers and she's always putting stuff out. And that is community focused.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more stuff in her chart that talks about her love for the Easter eggs, but any Taylor Swift fan knows that she will hide a very small word in a music video or a picture or just something very small that will tell us when another thing is happening, another thing is dropping, anything involving the number 13.
I would actually place that on her moon in Cancer, because Cancer is very sentimental.
Yeah.
And when you think about Easter eggs, they are sentimental.
Yeah. Yeah. It even started with like the first sort of Easter egg that there was is when she first started releasing Fearless, and you'd open the lyric packet inside the CD of the book, and certain letters would be capitalized and they'd spell out a message. And she did that for a while, and realized that her fans love looking for clues like that.
Yeah, that one, and you know, I know this because she has her birth time She's the only one that we're looking at today that has her birth time, but her midheaven is in Virgo, which explains the attention to detail, like capitalizing letters like that, and that type of expression.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I think it's cute and sweet.
She is cute and sweet. I love her.
Shall we move to Burt McCracken?
Burt McCracken.
Burt McCracken. Sun in Pisces, Moon in Pisces. Emo band. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercury and Aquarius, I would express that as to why his voice is so unique. But I'm looking for problems. I'm looking for problematic things about somebody that I love.
I mean, let's see. I mean, just the, because I'm surprised we don't have his rising, because I thought he was Sun, Moon, Rising Pisces too. I thought he was the same as Nicholas.
See, that's dependent.
Yeah.
The Time Passages app that I use, they give you an option to use the sunrise time of the day that they were born. And it just kind of like gives you an idea, but I can't, like, it's not confirmed.
Okay, gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a maybe. It's a maybe. But that is very emotional, and that's something about, I mean, Sun, Moon in Pisces is highly emotional. And then the Mars in Libra kind of, like, makes waves. The Libra would just blow on that water energy and just create waves. So there's, I would imagine, like, big moments and kind of blow ups, and then also being able to come back to himself and balance those out.
Yeah. And I think those moments of sort of stillness are probably when he writes his music, on the times when he wasn't on the stillness.
Yeah. He writes at nighttime.
Nighttime is, so I think, a lot of people find morning time to be meditative, and a lot of people find nighttime to be meditative.
I think they both are.
I think they both can be.
It's usually like the middle of the day that I would prefer to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And then doing creative work in the morning and the night.
I don't want to be awake in the morning.
No. Ever.
No. I cannot, I just can't work anywhere that, I could not wake up before 6 for any reason. If it's work, if I need to go to the gym, which a lot of people like to do in the morning, like, I don't know. Morning is not the time for me to be productive. It takes my eyes, I am one of those people who can only set one alarm. I'll wake up to that alarm. My eyes will open, I'll get up. My brain will not wake up until later on.
Yeah, I feel that. So the mornings for me are very meditative, but the, like, more late morning and then nighttime is the most productive time for me.
Yeah, me too.
Because, I have my ritual. I have a very specific morning ritual. Hello, Jinx. Where I wake up, I come downstairs, I make coffee, I drink my coffee and have a smoke, and then I go poop. That is my morning ritual. But at night, I just, am more free-flowing, and I have better ideas. And I also usually shower at night, and I think that we all have our best ideas while we're showering.
Yeah, which is really weird, isn't it?
Yeah, showering and driving.
Yeah.
And that's how you hit that point where you're like, were any of those lights green? Burt McCracken's North Node, South Node are actually the opposite of mine. So his North Node is in Cancer, and my North Node is in Capricorn. His South Node is in Capricorn, my South Node is in Cancer. And so for me, what that represents is I spent a lot of time, like, presumably in my past life, dealing with family. So my challenge in this life is to be able to focus on my individuation and learning how to be a leader. And so Burt McCracken being the opposite was he spent his past life being a leader, and now this life is all about creating family and community. And he's married and has a daughter, and
Aww.
I was just watching an interview and he was talking about how he just like cuddles with his daughter and watches Survivor all the time because she loves Survivor. It's very cute.
That is cute. How old is his daughter?
I don't know.
I mean, old enough to be understanding Survivor, I guess. But Survivor's a good show. I feel like I could watch that pretty young too.
Never got into it. Okay, let's get to the real problems.
Yeah. Yeah. The real
Flipping the page.
We flipped the page over.
Dramatically flipped the page over.
Yeah. So,
who do you want to look at first?
Let's start with the one you're most familiar with, Jeffree Star. Let's start with some Jeffree Star here.
Heard that. Jeffree Star is a Scorpio. Sun sign Scorpio. Scorpios have a lot of potential to be problematic. The shadow side of a Scorpio is very, I would say, manipulative and very like projection oriented. Like, I'm not the problem, somebody else is the problem.
Yep.
And also being like super protective of themselves because of that exoskeleton and a shadow side, and that can be a good thing, but the shadow side of it is becoming too protective of yourself to the point where none of the light gets in. So protective of themselves that they will do some dark stuff to remain unscathed.
Yeah.
Emotionally, because it is a water sign.
Yeah.
The moon being in Capricorn means that there isn't a lot of emotion there. It's more, their emotions are grounded in a logical standpoint. And it's also like kind of ready to do, like doesn't really give a crap and will do whatever to get ahead.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a light side of Capricorn is very much work-oriented. Mm-hmm. But your moon being in Capricorn and the shadow side of that is that your lack of emotion makes you not really worry about stepping on whoever to move forward.
Yeah.
Mercury and Sagittarius, I would imagine, I don't know, like, has different forms of communication. And again, I would Sagittarius, shadow side, flighty. Mm-hmm. Venus and Scorpio.
I know, dude.
I mean, that's like dark materials. It's kind of, again, wanting to protect not just yourself and your emotions, but your things.
Yeah.
You want to protect your things and you want to protect the way that you look, and that's important to you. Mars and Libra, right? Yes, Mars and Libra. My Mars is in Libra, but, you know, there should be a balance there because Libra is all about the scales, but out of balance, it can get messed up. Like, very manipulative, very pushy.
Yeah, Jeffree is all of those things.
In an aggressive way.
Yeah, I would say so. So I don't really want to tell you sort of like what things that Jeffree has done that apply to those terms that you just used until we talk about the others, mainly just because his drama also involves these people's drama as well. And so I think we should just go over all of them, and then I will spill all of the tea as far as like how it's really been applied. So
Jeffree Star, I at least know who that is, but I don't know. I live under a rock and I like, you know, just do my own witchy stuff and don't really pay attention to these types of things. But am I right so far?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think anyone watching who knows Jeffree Star is probably cackling right now.
I would also go with the North Node and South Node. Right. Yeah. North Node is what we're supposed to be doing in this life. South Node is what they did in their past life. So they were really Jeffree Star's South Node is in Scorpio, North Node is in Taurus, so their challenge for this life is to become more caring and develop their materials and to, I mean, make money just generally, but also to be sturdy. But past life, and this is part of the thing about the South Node too, is it's what we're used to. South Node being in Scorpio, shadow side of it is that protective dark energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Who do you want to do next?
So let's go with Shane Dawson.
Shane Dawson.
Who is not currently on the internet. Because he had to take a break. Because Shane Dawson got canceled. So
let's also talk about canceled real quick.
Yeah.
Cancel culture
Uh-huh.
in itself is problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said before, a person isn't bad. They do good or bad things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are an influencer, it does make a difference. And it is, but it's so, I think to cancel problematic people is problematic. Because
yes.
in my mind, it creates the situation where it's just like, well, that's bad and I don't want to look at it. Even though everyone does is look at it.
Yeah. I
It's
think
like a train wreck.
I see some I like, okay, this is kind of hard to word because obviously as me being me, I do see both sides of cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like a very positive thing for cancel culture for me is I like that we are trying to hold people accountable.
Yes.
For actions that are not okay. And we're really starting to create discussions through cancel culture of like, what is an acceptable thing to do, and sort of readjust morals, because like, you know, like America throughout history, there's been obviously a lot of hate, a lot of separation and homophobia and racism and all of these things that are not just applied to legal stuff like gays being able to get married, but also things that are said and actions that happen that are also not okay and
Mm-hmm.
fall into that category. And so I think that when there's a celebrity or an influencer or any sort of person in the spotlight that is, you know, racist, homophobic, any sort of thing like that,
yeah.
It is important to point it out. But I think that it's happened. It's very quick. People are very quick to be like, you said this one thing 10 years ago and I don't believe your apology video, and therefore like we're canceling you and you're losing millions of subscribers and dollars.
Yeah.
Like,
can we just have pause culture instead? It feels so unforgivable, and it's so like we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who can make a mistake, be told that you made a mistake, and then be able to understand that and be like, oh, I see that I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was a mistake. To cancel them, I think, is just so brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially because, like, you know, there's so many negative, like, an influencer makes an apology video, right? No matter how that apology video looks, people come at it. They don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you expect these people to address their issues, apologize, and try and learn from them if all of the comments are saying that it's ingenuine, or why do they always, like, why does every, YouTube apology video have this in it? And it's like, what are they supposed to do then?
Yeah, well, and it makes it really scary for people to put themselves out there, because say you're making a podcast and it just makes it scary. You're scared to say the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you lean into doing something creative like that over the internet and you do blow up and you make a mistake, then your life is just...
Yeah. Yeah, especially if content creation is your passion and you make a mistake, then you probably have just lost your job forever.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's our thoughts on cancel culture.
That's the rant.
Which is why we're not canceling anybody here. We're just talking about how we see the dark things in their charts and how we see how those correlate to the issues that they've experienced.
Yeah.
So, but Shane Dawson.
Shane Dawson is a Cancer. Shadow side of Cancer. Talks a lot without saying anything. Talks a lot without having a real point, or they think that they have a point, and nobody else thinks that they have a point, and you're like, what is the punchline? I do not understand.
Yup. It's so funny. I cannot wait to tell you. Oh my gosh, that is so hilarious.
Also, Cancer is very, again, very similar to Scorpio. They have it's a crab. They have the exoskeleton and their goo inside. So they're very protective of themselves. And I also, something about Cancers that a shadow side of Cancers that I have nuticed is the capacity to victimize themselves. Oh, she really just hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
I don't know who this is.
Shane Dawson, he's a YouTuber. He made a whole documentary on Jeffree Star, actually.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Moon is in Libra, which is, it's like, again, we go back to the scales. Like, you can have a very balanced amount of emotions, but if your emotions become unbalanced, then it's just disarray.
Yeah, disarray or overcompensation of trying to balance out your emotions, figuring out how you even can handle it, and things like that. Yeah.
Or choosing one side so hard that you are not willing to let the scales balance out. Mercury, also in Cancer, creates a situation where, again, they talk a lot about how either they're the victim or they talk a lot about their emotions.
Yeah.
And how they feel. Emotions are what drives their communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Venus and Gemini, willing to manipulate to get the things you want.
That was a beautiful song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mars and Aries. That's fight.
Yeah.
That's just fight energy. That's just like, catch me outside. Like,
yeah.
Like aggressive.
Yeah.
And unwilling to see the other side of something because they're so focused on what they're saying that they can't like sit down and have a moderated conversation with somebody because they are too busy yelling to hear what anyone else has to say.
Yeah. That is also very accurate for Shane Dawson. North and South.
Yeah, let's go North and South nodes. North node is in Pisces. So this is all about getting in touch with, this life is all about getting in touch with their own emotions and figuring out how to ride those waves and just like, quit trying to swim upstream. South node in Virgo, past life situations was very into control. If we're looking at shadow sides, very into control. And so this life is about letting go of that control and learning to let the stream, salmon, swim downstream or upstream. Go with the flow.
Yeah.
Learning how to go with the flow and not have control over situations.
I would also say that Shane Dawson does need to learn that lesson.
Yeah, and that's what we're here for in my mind. Like, we're all just here to learn.
Yeah. Yep.
And we should be allowed to.
That's right.
And I don't know what he did, but I hope that he's learning.
You will soon. We'll do James Charles, and then I'll tell you about Dramageddon, and we'll talk about David separately because he's kind of his own little entity.
Okie doke. James Charles, Gemini. Shadow side, manipulative. It's a choice.
Two-faced.
Two-faced. Twins. I got a twin for that.
Yeah.
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 Moon in Virgo. Very, again, I mean, earth signs. Your moon being in an earth sign kind of makes you detached from your emotions. And the way that a moon in Virgo would work is kind of like you have to dissect all of your emotions into these tiny little details to be able to see the picture. So it's like taking every little thing, overthinking.
Yeah.
Overthinking, over emotionalizing to get to the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercury and Taurus, he probably has a really nice voice.
I would say so. I'd say it's very unique. Like, well, first of all, he can sing pretty well. I mean, it's definitely gotten better over the years, but he has always loved singing, and his voice is definitely like, you know, when you hear a James Charles voice, you know it.
I mean, you do.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, you probably wouldn't, but anyone who knows his, like, has heard it will recognize it.
Yeah. It's also being able to make money off of your voice.
Yeah.
And, making money off of how you communicate, because the way you communicate is grounded and sounds good and earthy.
Yeah, he's a great communicator for sure. Like when he does write out something that he wants to talk about, it's very entertaining to watch. It's very thorough and it's very accurate and very straight to the point. He's very, very good at talking, for sure.
Venus and Cancer, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Venus and Cancer. I mean, it's being emotional about the way you look and the things that you have. And I mean, generally I would think Venus and Cancer would be very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also, again, get very protective and very, if I'm not getting what I want, then I'm the victim.
Mm-hmm.
Mars and Libra, again, if it's balanced, it's beautiful. If it's not, should work on that.
Yeah.
And then if we go North Node, South Node, North Node is Leo. So this life is very much about being the star of your own show.
Mm.
And the past life was very much about community. So this is actually Taylor Swift's just reversed.
Mm.
So past life was very much about community. So this life is kind of moving away to be able to focus on yourself and your own regal entity.
Yeah. I like that.
Okay, what they do?
So
That was a weird sound.
That was a weird sound. I don't know if the sound picked that up, but we heard a weird sound. Either way, I'm just glad you also heard that sound.
So, boom.
Yeah.
Right?
It sounded like maybe a bear sneeze or something. I don't know. Anyways, so all right, so Tati Westbrook, who we didn't talk about, was a beauty influencer, and she uploaded a video called Bye Sister. And James Charles,
like BYE?
BYE,
Bye
yeah.
Sister?
Yeah, because James Charles starts every video with "Hi Sisters."
Oh.
Yeah, so she called it Bye Sister, and basically told the account of a story with her, James Charles, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, essentially like talking about manipulation and saying that James is not only very predatory, but also like Tati has a hair care company, like Vitamin, and James Charles promoted hers, and then there was a situation where James was trying to get into like this convention because he like was a creator for this I think it might have actually been Coachella. But either way, to get in, he needed to promote this other company, this rival company of Tati. And so she was really upset over that. and, you know, just came on and talked about all of the manipulation and things that they did with her and how she was upset watching James, like, be a predator, but also, like, backstabby, sort of. Shane Dawson, who was mentioned in the video, immediately, like, went on to a live stream on Instagram and just started watching it. It was like a 30-second video, but he's like, you're lying, you're, you know, manipulative.
Mars and Aries!
Immediately just starts going off on how she's lying and all of these other things where, and he is freaking out. Like, he is freaking out. But he doesn't actually say anything to defend himself. He just says that she's lying. He can't, like, actually even collect his thoughts enough to say why she's lying.
Rage.
And so everyone started unsubscribing to James Charles, all of that, you know, for the accusations that Tati had. So then James makes this video called No More Lies, and he has receipts upon receipts upon receipts. He's got screenshots. It's scripted. He has fully covered himself on all accounts that Tati has claimed that he did, and proved her wrong. I mean, he really did. He said, like, you know, he showed the actual screenshot on the screen. It was thorough. It was precise. It was like the things that Tati said were taken out of context. Completely defended himself on all accounts. Moon and Virgo. Then, like, there was obviously, like, several tweets exchanged. Jeffree Star starts coming up with lies of, like, other things that are happening to him.
What did Jeffree Star have to do with any of this?
He was also, like, manipulating Tati, and so I can't remember exactly what he did to Tati, but she was just basically saying that, like, that him and Shane Dawson would say or do anything to make themselves feel good, and that James was also part of that problem, and, like, Jeffree started saying negative things about James. He called James's brother a pedophile. Just really nasty things that they were all exchanging with each other. And James had been the only one to sort of account for himself on all of those. And so James sort of came back, and separately, so, like, Jeffree has, you know...
So James did get pause culture.
He did get pause cultured. He did. He got paused, came back, but it's now been several other times where people under the age of 18 have reached out to say that James interacted with them inappropriately.
Oh.
And James sort of made another apology video, but this time he said that it was all true and that he needed to take time away to account for those actions, because I guess something that he pointed out was that he felt like he didn't understand that people are willing to say or do whatever in order to be talking to a celebrity, and especially in that flirty nature.
Oh.
But those people under the age of 18, not only is it more James's responsibility to ensure that he knows who he's talking to, because that is illegal and he is legally considered the adult, but also they posted screenshots of them being clearly uncomfortable with what was going on.
Oh.
And so now James is taking time. He hasn't posted any videos since then. He's like, I'm not going to post receipts of them telling me that they were originally 18. You know, them switching to being cold and uncomfortable was unexpected and out of the blue for me, and that's when he kind of realized that he messed up, because he felt like they were just using it to cancel him again. And so, of course, there's, like, both sides to that story, right? But I think, like, if you are the celebrity and you are an adult, like, you can't use fans to find your happily ever after. And if you are going to use that, then you have to take precautions, I think.
But that's a lesson to learn. I think that it would be really easy to think that would be good.
Right.
And fine and beneficial. I mean, that's...
Right. The thing, though, is that he had been previously accused of it. Mm-hmm. And then called out for it, said he was going to do it, continued. And I think continuous behavior is the one that actually bothers me. I don't care about what mistake you made, but don't make them again.
Yeah. That's the rule. That's the point of an apology at all, ever.
Yeah.
And that's why you should never be someone who apologizes consistently. Like, if you are it's just a little thing, and you apologize all the time, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Because the word sorry starts to lose its weight. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much James. That's where James is at. That's what drama he's been in. But also, you know, like we were saying, with clearing himself on pretty much all accounts the first time, like, very calculated, very smart. He knows he's got a twin for that. He knows exactly what he needs to put for his audience and what he needs to do in order to keep himself, like, important. And
I really wonder what his rising is.
I know, me too. Shane Dawson, on top of, you know, Tati saying that he was manipulating her as well, he kind of had sort of a stranglehold on the YouTube world. Like, he...
what does he do?
I don't know. I've never watched Shane Dawson. I just know that he makes a lot of documentaries on, like, Jeffree Star, and he did one on Eugenia Cooney, who has, like, an ED. She's very unhealthily skinny. Okay. I just don't want to trigger anybody listening, but so yeah, there's that. But also, like, he's had several videos all throughout his history of videos where he's said incredibly, like, racist things, manipulative things. It's also, I can't remember where this got started, but they also said, like, that he has had intercourse with his cat. Like,
ew.
Like, sort of off the walls crazy a little bit. Like, he is manipulative and entertaining, but he, like, uses such dark means to get attention from the people that are watching him. Mm-hmm. And he won't address anything. He just takes time away from posting and then comes back with, like, hey, by the way, I'm dropping merch. Like, no one wants to buy your merch right now, dude. Take a hint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he won't do it.
Yeah. That actually makes me think of another shadow side of Cancer, is kind of having the nothing happened.
Yeah.
Even though they know, and they're, like, definitely holding a grudge on the inside, but on the outside just being like, nothing even happened.
Yeah. And then Jeffree is just kind of a liar. Like, he's claimed, like, getting robbed, even though, like, there was evidence to support the other side that he wasn't even robbed to begin with. There's been issues with products that he's released for merch. There's been issues with just sort of anything that this man says is a lie. Anything.
Scorpio.
Yeah.
Sagittarius.
Yeah. I mean, really, like, I have not heard Jeffree Star say a single truthful thing, to be honest with you. And so these three sort of had, like, with Shane and Jeffree being so close, and with both of them having such a strong stranglehold on the makeup community, both trying to cancel James, Tati just destroying them all, James coming back, Jeffree's upset that James is coming back, all of this, like, crisscross within the beauty community.
What a mess.
Such a mess. It was called Dramageddon. It literally was, like, the hugest freaking thing.
Over,
like,
makeup.
Oh, over...
At the end of the day.
Not even makeup.
No, I know.
It didn't even involve makeup. That's the thing.
That's, like, what they do, right?
I guess.
Makeup.
I mean, it has made...
all the drama.
It's made all of them so much more relevant, to be honest with you.
That's... Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder...
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, I'll let you finish the sentence because not everyone knows what you were about to say.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Oh, Shane Dawson does a lot of those too.
I wonder if it was planned and staged to become more relevant.
I think
even more relevant.
as someone who has watched the videos, I think there's too much emotion for it to all be staged. But I think the fact that so much of it was online was an idea that maybe one or even just two of them had to like, let's respond via the internet because that'll be, like this drama's going on. James had screenshots when he was giving out his No More Lies video and saying like, trying to clear himself.
Awfully prepared.
Yeah, well, he can go back and screenshot. Yeah, but what was I saying? I don't remember. I know I was talking about that one or two of them might have had an idea to just respond. Oh, yeah. Okay, so James had screenshots where he reached out to Tati and was like, I feel like you're upset with me. Can we talk? Do you want to come over and talk? And there was no response on Tati's end. She just released the video. But she said it was sort of a second video where she called out these two because these two saw what James was doing. They manipulated her into posting that first video about James, the Bi Sister video. Yeah. They were the ones who convinced Tati that she needed to upload the Bi Sister James video. So I think Shane and Jeffree are willing to do whatever they want in order to make themselves more relevant. Although James obviously does keep messing up, but I think that it was these two guys' idea to have it on the internet. I think James could have handled it by himself. But also James just turned 21. He is a baby. And these are full-grown adults, And that's where also James reaching out to 16-year-olds, yeah, legally that is pretty messed up and that's a pretty big difference, but 10 years down the road, that's not a big deal. And there's other laws that say if you're within a certain amount of years, even if one person is younger than 18, that's still okay. And I don't want to defend James because there were real victims here, but I do think that it was blown way out of proportion and put on the internet due to somebody outside of James's control.
Jeez.
Yeah.
The manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even.
I know.
I just can't even. Could you imagine being like that?
No. I know that if I'm going to, this is going to sound terrible, but the only manipulation I feel like I would even use to even a small degree is if somebody starts to bully me or be rude to me, I will kill you with kindness.
Oh, yeah.
I am going to be as nice to you as I possibly can be because it's so hard to be mean to somebody if they're nice to you. It just is. If somebody came over to me and was like, your shirt's ugly, and I'd be like, yeah, you know what, this isn't my favorite shirt either. I really like your earrings, though. What are they going to come back with? How? How do you continue to bully somebody who's just said that to you? So I would do that, but these guys they're just feeding lies and information to have somebody do what they want in order to try and cancel. And to be honest with you, I don't really like any of them. I like James. He's entertaining, but I don't really like. I think you can avoid drama. I always think you can avoid it.
Yeah, it's weird for me personally because clearly it's blown up.
Yeah.
People are into it, but I just find the whole drama so uninteresting.
Yeah. I like
personally.
I like hearing about it because I think that when I look at other people's drama, I like analyzing.
Yeah.
I like analyzing both sides. I like watching response videos to see how somebody handles the situation. I find that part fascinating. So I do like to hear what they're doing and why people are upset, and also determine for myself if that's something I need to be upset about. So that's why I kind of follow along, and also because a lot of these other creators have really entertaining videos outside of these drama videos. Like they're fun to watch. They're funny. They're obviously, like, that's why they're successful, is
Honestly,
because they're entertaining.
Yeah, I've always really liked the way that Jeffree Star looks.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I would not want to hang out with Jeffree Star, though. He's just
I don't want to hang out with him. I just like the way that he looks. We should move to David Dobrik.
David Dobrik, yeah, he's kind of an entity on his own.
Okay.
But what do you see there?
Again, another Cancer. Water signs.
Yeah, water signs out the a-hole.
Y'all be like in it. Moon in Libra, another Moon in Libra. So, we've said it. Say it again. Balanced. Cool.
Yeah.
Unbalanced. Your emotions are. You don't pass the test of whether your heart weighs more than a feather.
Mm.
Mercury and Leo. That's another good voice. Very regal. Would probably have a good roar.
A good roar?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cute.
Venus and Gemini, same as Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
So again, very can be very manipulative in love, in how they get things. Mars and Gemini, so very manipulative with how they fight.
Yeah.
Venus and Mars in Gemini, shadow sides, just highly manipulative to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And also weirdly manipulative about what they're passionate about. Like, just be passionate about it. You don't have to manipulate anyone.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Okay, you can talk about their north and south, and then I'll tell you what David Dobrik is going through.
North and south. North node, Libra. South node, Aries. This life is all about finding balance.
Mm.
Past life is all about rage, effing rage! But also, being very independent and getting things done. And then this life has more to do with community and creating friendships. These are the lessons that need to be learned in finding balance.
Yeah.
And finding just, I don't mean in a romantic way, just like that love energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finding peace in a sense.
Yeah, so David Dobrik is sort of actually, like, recently been sort of under scrutiny. There's been several of his ex-employees and people in his videos that say that he manipulates them into having entertaining content for his videos. So he'll offer them money, or he will abuse his employees, sort of, or he'll he claimed he asked, he has everybody watch it, and if they're okay with what's on the video, then he puts it up. But then employers are coming and saying, no, he's like put stuff up, on the YouTube channel that I've asked not be up there, or I've asked him to take it down, and he didn't because that video had too many views. Sort of really manipulative as far as, like you said, with his passion, with doing whatever it takes for his videos to be entertaining, and sort of behind the scenes treating those people who are part of the video inappropriately. Also being accused of having a case of, like, giving, inviting girls over who are underage, giving them alcohol, and, inappropriately doing things as well. And there's...
So skeevy.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because David Dobrik pretty much, he avoided all sort of drama up until, like, recently. Like, pretty recently, I'd say. And it's all just sort of come out at once, and I'm wondering if...
It rains, it pours. Huh?
Yeah, but I'm almost wondering if, like, they originally had contracts with David that says they couldn't come forward with anything until now, or what. Like, I just don't know why it's all happening right now, but there's been a lot, and a lot of these... There's one poor girl who is, I think, maybe in a lawsuit with David over the alcohol thing, because she was... like, sexually assaulted while they were over there. And, you know, David sort of came back with an apology video saying, it wasn't me, it was my friend who got the alcohol and all of this other thing. And it's just like, dude, this is your channel. This is your YouTube. This is, like, all directed by you.
What is this YouTube about in the first place?
I think it's more targeted towards children.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, really, like entertainment. I don't know.
Yeah,
He also was part of this thing that people were starting to call a scam, but it was essentially, oh, well, he gives people like money and cars as like a surprise, and that's usually where the entertainment is like him giving things away.
Oh,
and
that also
reactions.
sounds like a grooming mentality.
Yeah. So he recently put out this, he was like, you guys are always asking me for money. He had sponsorships with Chipotle, with Tesla, with all these things. It was like, you guys are always asking me for money, so I'm creating this puzzle. And the puzzle was a unique QR code, and you could win up to $100,000. So you would do the puzzle. There was no picture to go off of. You just had to put it together. And you would scan it and see how much money you won. And every puzzle was a winner, but like 98% or something were only 25 cents. And people were like, this is such a scam, like it's like, okay, first of all, no.
You made the choice to do it.
You made the choice to buy the puzzle.
It's a puzzle.
Secondly, yeah, exactly. Like, you really are that upset about buying a puzzle? Like, most puzzles you buy don't give you anything. Let alone a 25-cent rebate. Like, dang. Well, I don't think that's a scam at all. I think that was clever. I think it was smart, and I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you only won 25 cents. So what? You still had a fun time creating this puzzle QR code, didn't you? And if not, then why did you even get a puzzle in the first place? And so...
I sure do not know.
Yeah, I don't know. But, so, I mean, but based off of David's manipulation, other things that we see, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, there wasn't even a $100,000 winner, you know, but it's like...
Then it's a scam.
More, but, you know, it's more for the fun of it. Like,
Yeah.
I would get a puzzle for free.
Yeah, but also, like, what makes it a scam in my mind is saying you could win this, I mean, and you can't. You know, that's what would do it for me. But even, I mean, scams they happen.
Yeah, and also, like, if you do win...
It's a puzzle!
If you do win 25 cents, like, you still get money. I don't know. Like, why are we so pressed about that? I don't know that one. But the other stuff, totally, I understand. I think, like, for us, you know, like, we have our frustrations about work, but we wouldn't vocalize them on the internet.
No.
And I think that goes for so many people, which is why it's really interesting to me when employees of these influencers come out and say things, because they know they're slandering their boss or ex-boss or whatever, so I feel that the chances of them lying about it are low for ex-employees. Especially when you have more than one.
It is very different, because if you and I were to slander our work, it wouldn't, it's not something that would get us views.
Yeah, that's true.
Know?
Well, but
to slander people like this, it does have the potential gains.
That's true. But I also just feel like, you know, there's so much, you know, there's obviously contracts involved and lawyers involved. And in order for something to get bad enough to the point where they come out about it, especially when there's more than one person coming out about the same thing, then that's where I just start to question the integrity of the person themselves. That, like, is the influencer.
Yeah. So, don't sign contracts.
Don't sign contracts unless you read them all the way through and you are fully comfortable with what the contract says. Yeah. But, I mean, it's very insightful to hear sort of about how signs can negatively affect these people and their responses to certain situations, and using the dark sides of that in order
everything that happens, though, every shadow side of anything, any dark side of anything, it's really just an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. I do think that...
And they're just doing it publicly.
Yeah, and I do think that all of these people can learn and grow, and, like, I think that's possible, but I also think that they won't. I also think that there's a lot of parts that went into all of them that just will be around because they might not even realize that they need to grow from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that they might, for example, David Dobrik might not release a product like the puzzle again, but that doesn't mean that he won't try to, assuming that it was a scam, right? That he won't try to scam in a different way.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So it's not always just about the actions that are taken to prevent whatever was wrong, but it's also about changing your mindset and who you are as a person to prevent anything similar to that also happening again.
Yeah, but also it's just, whether they do or don't, that's their own path.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I think a lot of cancel culture is also just about, like, that the people that we want to be making a lot of money should be good people.
Yeah, I think it's like time out for celebrities. Like, you need to go sit on the stairs and think about what you did.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And that's why I think that the response to most apology videos are unfair. There's absolutely no way you can come out with an apology video where people are not going to be upset about it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair, but that's the way it be.
So, yeah. This is the shadow side of astrology.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
We grow or we stay stagnant.
Yeah, that is true. Next episode's about
the moon.
The moon.
The next episode's about the moon. The moon is my favorite, and I love the moon. And when that one comes out, there's gonna be a new moon. And yeah.
That's really exciting.
The moon's
I know you do. After the Moon podcast, there will be a Q&A video podcast episode. So submit any questions you have about astrology, about me, about her, about anything that we've talked about this season. We'll cover that in the next, or in the podcast episode after the moon. Yeah,
you can comment on our TikTok or our Instagram, or you can email us. The email is, we'll put it in the description, but it's lighthouseathelakes@gmail.com, and all of our, Instagram and all those things are just Lighthouse at the Lakes.
Yeah, be sure to follow us on all of our social media. It's Lighthouse at the Lakes, except Twitter, which is just Light at the Lakes. Be sure to join our Patreon, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
We'll sign off.
Yay.